On your bed. Hi, Sue. And hello, we are live. Did you like my little countdown? I just about missed it though. I was busy on my phone, just about missed it. Hello, hi Sue, hi Denise, and hi Fiona. I know, hi Sue, who's saying hi Fiona? I don't think Fiona's here yet. If she is, she hasn't commented. Oh, she could be. She could be. You might be able to see more things on Facebook direct than what I can see here. Hi Rhonda. Hi. Yeah. Hope you all had a good week. Oh yeah, there Fiona. Yeah, I like my countdown. I've got that now. I just got to remember to actually start it a little bit earlier. But yeah, that lets me get set up and going. So you can all be there waiting to get on. Get a few more people on a bit earlier. Hi Michelle. Hi Mary. See how we go. Did you notice my new glasses last week? I forgot to mention them last week. I actually just picked them up last Thursday. Hi Kylie. Got them on now, but so you can't see my setup, but my laptop is just here, and then there's a camera there, and then there's a big screen there. So my glasses are multifocal, and so I'm fine to see my laptop, but that means I'm looking down, you see. I'm not looking at you. I look at the camera, that's okay, but I can't see your comments, so I have to look at the big screen, and that's a long way away, so that's completely blurry. One would think it should be all right on the top of my glasses. So yeah, so they're a little bit blurry up there. Not as cold today, no. And Matilda just told me, Vienna, that she heard somewhere that Hobart has had its hottest July on record, or hottest July since whatever time. Here am I thinking that it's the coldest one since we've been here, but we did have an 18-degree day yesterday. But we've also had lots of rain this week, and those really strong winds one night. It tore half the leaves off my lime tree. The limes survived, but the leaves blew off. So hopefully that will recover okay. Because I've got, it's only a 2-year-old tree in a pot, but I've got heaps on there. Hottest in 157 years. Thank you, Matilda. There you go. Hard to believe because I've been freezing, but maybe as you get older, you don't cope with the cold as much. I don't know. But I think it's been freezing. So I'm sitting here with my granny blanket on already. Bentley's on his third bed. Well, he just heard his name because last week he chewed one to pieces, completely destuffed it and chewed it to pieces. And while we're waiting tonight, he's got a hole in the next one, and we're starting to get the stuffing out. So he's in disgrace. That's gone, and he's got a hard mat now. He's sitting on it, but we'll see how we last. Okay, just wait for a few more and see how we go. What have we been watching this week? I still haven't watched A Man Called Otto, but I did finish Deadlock. Gee, that was good. Try and get to Deadlock if you can, but it's on Prime, so a lot of people don't have Prime. So Deadlock was good. It was funny. It was good. Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Chris. There was something else you told me last week that I watched, and I watched Extraction 1 after watching Extraction 2 first. Yes, I'm keeping up with Outlander, Vienna. Yes, we're 3 into that, I think, 3 or 4 into that. So that's back on. And today, last night, Joe told me to watch Keep Breathing. It's either Keep Breathing or Just Keep Breathing. I think it's just Keep Breathing on Netflix. And something else now I've just started. Hi, Mariana. Hi. Who went to Melbourne Quilt Show? Oh, it's on this weekend. It's on now and this weekend. I'm waiting to see the full list of winners, to see all the quilts. I saw the Best of Show, Maria Waters' Best of Show, which looked amazing. All applique. And I'm pretty sure she uses my applique paper technique, although she used to use a different product, but that hasn't been available for a long time, so I'm not sure there. And Wendy Wellham won Best of Show in Adelaide last week with an applique quilt, which she has been working on for years, so she has done a traditional needle turn, but she also uses the applique technique now as well. So those 2 applique quilts got Best of Shows in the last 2 weeks, which is really lovely to see. If anyone got to Adelaide, it looked like a great show. I was at Adelaide show last year because it was part of the Australian Machine Quilting Festival, and the SA Guild put on such a great exhibition. Like, they really go all out and have a theme, and they all get dressed up, and they do a great job. Very impressed with that. Unfortunately, I didn't get to that or Melbourne this year, but it's always, I'm just waiting to see when they list the prize winners. They haven't, there's just been a few snippets. They haven't actually put up all the prize winners yet for either of them that I've been able to find. So all of you from Melbourne, you might be heading in this weekend to Jeff's Shed maybe to see it. Okay. All right. So, hi, Marg. And let's make a start. I haven't got a huge amount to show you from the shop. Jo's been on her own yesterday and today because Donna was sick, so poor thing. I said, can you find me something for live at 7 and send it home with Shed Guy? But she was trying to do front and back, so a little bits come home, but a lot of it's not on the website because you might have known we've been having more website glitches, which is the story of my life. And I'm just so far behind on uploading products because we lost a VA, and I still haven't replaced her that used to do all that for us. It takes so long, and it's design time. So, okay. So she's going to have a few things to show you. So I'm going to switch to the overhead, and I will go through what we've got. So there's been a few new, just little mini charms. So I've been showing you the mod hexies and how to make a table runner or a bag, and then we did the mod honeycombs last week, so you could make the honeycomb hokum pouch, and that was just in fabrics that we'd used. But the beauty of both of those, the hexies, the 1-inch hexies and the 1-inch honeycombs, is that they fit on these mini charms, and it's a curated set of fabrics that always look good together. And I tend to just put them on a piece of linen or something because we've got so many different beautiful linens, extra wide linens. So if you remember when I've demonstrated the mod hexies or the mod honeycombs, a mini charm square pack is a great way to do a really quick project. And at AQC this year, it was our feature demo, and we sold out of just about all our mini charms, and you can't get them back in very quickly because you've got to order like 6-8 months in advance. So anyway, a few are starting to come in. So here's a couple. This is Paisley Rose by Crystal Manning, and it's sort of a florally, in quite a contemporary sort of colorway. A nice, almost a little bit retro in the colorways, actually. But so there's that little one, which would be quite sort of modern and retro. And then just in time to decorate for Halloween, which I don't do, but I insist on not doing it, but plus I have no kids home anymore. But if you're a Halloween person, then this is Ghostly Greetings by Deb Strain. And because it's such a quick project to make, this would be a really cool one to do, to make a little table runner or something out of, or a cushion to decorate for Halloween. Or if you're one of our American friends, then there's bats and oranges and greys, pumpkins and bats and skeletons and cobwebs and all sorts in there. So that's called Ghostly Greetings by Deb Strain. Again, they're not on the website, so you'll just have to message if it's something you want, or next time you're in if you're local. And then this one, we have one in the store that's on a good dark grey background and with black and whites and greys on it. And we're forever selling kits to it, and we can never get blacks and grey fabrics again, or mini charms. So we just got this one, and it's called a Chroma, and it's a Ruby Star one. And so it's creams, greys, blacks. So that makes a really nice one. If I can, I will pop a picture in the comments after of our sample of that one, and you can see how good that looks. Okay, that's called a Chroma. Chris, I went to Adelaide and the quilts on show are fantastic, some brilliant work. Yeah, the few peaks I saw looked really good. And as I said last year, the guild, the committee do such a great job of setting up that show. Okay, so a few other things she sent in with me. So all these different tapes. And I do remember I saw a video or a demo or something, and then I went searching, and I just bought all of these to try them out for different purposes. So first of all, this one is the glow line tape. And there's 3 different colours. So there's yellow, orange, and pink. So they're like a fluorescent tape. And they're actually like a transparent fluorescent tape. And they're like sticky plastic. You know how you can put it doesn't have a sticky residue, but it sort of sticks with I don't know, electricity or something. So low tack will not leave residue on your ruler. And the idea, they're 1/4 inch wide. So the idea is for using on your ruler when you're cutting a whole stack of templates. So you can actually mark out your templates, or if you're cutting a whole stack of the same things with the seam allowance or whatever, you can mark your spot, and it's just much quicker and easier. So that's designed to go on your rulers when you're cutting, just to give you your guideline where you can line it up in the same spot very quickly every time when you're cutting and trimming blocks. So that's the glow line tape. That's 850. And then this one here is a quilter's tape. It's 1/4 inch wide. Okay, and it's basically like a masking tape, so it doesn't leave any residue on there. It's just a single-sided sticky tape, and you use that basically for marking 1/4 inch quilting lines or sashiko lines or things like that. So you just put the tape on your project to get a straight line, or a 1/4 inch spacing from a seam, or a 1/4 inch spacing from anything. And then you use that to quilt along, and then you can peel it up and move it to the next spot for a few times. So that's just an inexpensive one. It also says that you can use it to hold appliques in place as you temporarily sew. But we just use Roxanne's glue for that normally. But it's more of a perfect 1/4 inch. So if you're doing big stitch quilting, 1/4 inch from seams and things like that, and you want to get a really straight line, then that's a good tape there. And then these 2 here are a temporary water-soluble tape. I'm sure this one's water-soluble as well. Let me see. Doesn't actually say it's water-soluble. That one, or I thought it was. Anyway, so this one is water-soluble, the Singer one, and it eliminates pinning basically. So it's a temporary basting tape. It is a 1/4 inch wide. I don't know if it's specifically, but it is. Well, actually, it says 6.4 millimeters. Oh, yeah, 1/4 inch. Yeah, it is 1/4 inch wide. So it's sticky on one side, and it's actually sticky on both sides. Double-sided peel and stick. Water-soluble disappears when washed, cut to any length size. So it's a really good way for attaching zips and things when you're attaching zips. And when you pin it, it all goes crooked and it goes all over the place. And it just doesn't stay nice and flat, like when you're doing a zipper pouch or something, and you've got your outer fabric, and you've got your zip, and then you've got your lining, and you've got your pull in the way, and you've got the ends in the way, and it all goes crooked. So I have been using a bit of glue pen sometimes to glue my zips in place while I do it, or even Roxanne's basting glue and then ironing it dry. But this is probably even a neater, cleaner way of doing it. So it's a double-sided sticky tape, and it's water-soluble, so it goes afterwards. It's just temporary. Okay, so that's the Singer brand, and then this is the by Annie's. She's come out with one as well. So double-sided basting tape. And this one is 20 meters. That one was 10 yards. So this one is longer. Actually, it says 2 rolls. Oh, there's another one inside. Okay, there's 2 rolls. So 2 rolls of 10 meters. There's one inside the packet as well. That's interesting. It says it's extra sticky, so I guess it works even better. But works with fabric, paper, cork, vinyl, mesh, soft and stable, and more. Now, if you've ever sewn with the By Annie's mesh for pockets and things like that, you know how much movement is in that mesh, and it moves and it goes all over the place. So this would be perfect to glue your top edge when you're sewing a zipper or something on that mesh, so it stays nice and stable. Holds bulky solid items that can't be pinned, makes placing zippers, fold over elastic handles and straps fast and easy, simplifies attaching trims and appliques, used to precisely position and hold items, narrow width and low profile, easy to peel backing. So this one, you just finger press it on there. You don't iron it. This one, same thing. You don't iron it to hold it or anything like that. So it's not like a Visifix. Of Visifix tape, which you can use as well. That's actually more permanent. So that's a permanent one, whereas this one's not. So okay, so that's a double-sided basting tape in 2 different brands. That one's 1/4 inch by 10 yards, and this is 2 10-meter yards, but it's not a 1/4 inch. It's really narrow. It's probably 1/8 of an inch. So for putting under zips and things, it's probably better because you're not going to have any poking out underneath if you don't have a perfect seam allowance or have it in the perfect spot. So yeah, so I might keep that one at home for me to use. I'm not sure how many we got, but again, not on the website yet, but in the store, and we'll get them up eventually. Right, what else have I got here? I have got, and one day when I'm at my machine, I will show you how I use this. So this is an awl, so it's a weapon, basically. It's got a wooden handle and a sharp metal point. And I use this pretty much all the time when I'm at my sewing machine now. So I never thought it would be so useful. I had one for years and years. And actually Annie from By Annie, she has her own version. And if you look on her website, she has lots of videos on how she uses an awl and why she uses an awl. But it's just like you're an extended finger while you're sewing. So you can use it for so many things. You can use it to actually push it through. You can use it to hold a seam down as you're coming up to the presser foot, so it doesn't flip. You can literally go all the way in the gap. I use an open toe presser foot most times, so you can actually feed it all the way in through the dogs. I can use it when I'm appliquing to sweep my tails under. So I haven't got it here, but if I had a dot there or like a point, I can use that to sweep things under. Or it's just like a hand, and it just feeds it through, and you can push down as you're feeding fabric through, so they feed through all together. You'll be surprised if you've got one and you start using it, how often you use it. You can also, of course, use it to push out points when you're turning things through, although you can't push too hard or else it'll just pop straight through the fabric. But yeah, there's lots of uses. I know Judy was saying she used it. What did she have to do? She had to separate things, I think. I can't think what it was. But she said whatever she used it for, she said it saved her. So lots of uses for an awl, apart from the original intended use of making holes through leather and fabric and things like that. So hi Sue and hi Liz, welcome. Hi Caroline, welcome. So that is an awl, and I do have that one. We'll pop that one in there somewhere. Let's see, we'll pop it. No. Where are we going to put it? I don't know where it's gone. It's not working. Let's hide that one. Sure, I have it there somewhere. I'll add it into the links later. Actually, maybe it's over here. No? Oh, it's gone. Okay, should be there, but it's not. Anyway, we'll find that later. I'll put the comments in. Okay, so that's our awl. Okay, now, just one other thing. I promised I was going to demo this week the Hawundi method. Kawundi method, which is my version of Kawundi. Now, I have demoed this a month or two ago when I was making a project out of it, so I've shown you a couple of times, but I did promise I would do it again. And I'm using my pearl thread to do my stitching through it, but Joe has just got in all these Cosmo Sashiko threads as well, and there are some panels coming as well, but these would be great for your Hawundi as well, for all the stitching through it. So, or borrow or proper Kawundi, whatever you're doing. These thicker Cosmo Sashiko threads. We've got a selection of those in store, and also needles. So Sashiko needles from Lesion, which is the Japanese company that also make the Cosmo threads. So I'm not an expert on Sashiko. I haven't actually done it. But I guess it's something new I'm going to have to try. But how much are the Cosmo threads, Sue? I assume you're asking. They're $12. So Denise, interesting. I use it for marking my patterns in bobbin lace making. Is that the awl you're talking about? I assume you mean for that. Yeah. Oh yes, I know what you mean. Yeah, marking making a hole when you've done them. Yeah. Okay. So the threads are $12. And the needles, and we do have some panels. I don't think they've arrived, but we do have some panels coming. So I guess I'm going to have to learn Sashiko, even if I make up my own version, or just have a go of it. I'm sure I can work something out. Maybe not the traditional way. And then she's just sent these couple of rulers in, and you'll see in a minute when I demonstrate the method where they might be handy as well. But these are just our normal, all the time. There's no need rulers. So 1 inch by 6.5. It's got 1/4 inch lines. It's got 1/4 inch spacings along here, along with the measurements there. And then this is our QI quarter. So it's 1/2 inch by 12 inches, and it's got 1/4 inch down the middle, and it's got all the inch and 1/4 inch markings along the side. So it's a bit hard to see that, and the paper's still on the back, so it's not showing it very well. But two really, really handy cheap rulers to have in your stash for marking seam allowances, all sorts of uses. Good one to have in your sewing bag. All right, I'm going to switch to the front mirror camera. Okay, and I'm just going to clear the space. And yeah. Okay, last week someone asked to see Bentley. So while he's wanting to get up, here he is. You can say hello to Bentley, and then you can hop back on your bed. Okay, say hello to all the ladies. Say hello. You can say hello. He doesn't know what he's looking at, but that's Mr. Bentley that gives me all the grief while I'm trying to talk to you all. Okay, all right, hop back down. I'm just going to show you, because a lot of our ladies, our Snuggly Bug ladies, are on here. And most times you make a block and send it in, and someone makes it up and it gets quilted, and then I finish it all off, and then I send it in to the recipient with Molly into the hospital. So I've actually got one here right now that will be going in. I think he's coming in early next week before this child heads off to Melbourne for up to a year for treatment, which is quite traumatizing. So this one was rushed through and got done within a couple of weeks. So it's a Snuggly Bug quilt. This is the charity program that I run for children that are diagnosed with terminal or long-term treatment illnesses at the Royal Hobart Hospital. Been running for over 10 years, probably 15 years now. And if you don't know about it, there's information on the website, and we have a group of volunteers. So when I get a request in, I don't know the child at all or their name. I just get their age and what they might like. And then I put a message out to the mailing list, to the volunteer list, and we ask for 9 people to make one block, someone to sew it together, and then generally the lovely Hillary in Victoria quilts them for me and sends them back. I finish them off, label them, and send them in. So this is, I can't even remember, it might have been Walter I think I just give them names like the cyclones, like through the alphabet. So we're up to, I think Walter and Veronica's is still coming. So this one was, I think, a 15-year-old boy, and he liked gaming. So if you can see the quilt, you can see some of the blocks. It's got Minecraft fabric, and it's amazing what fabrics that people find to put in the blocks. This has got like little, what's that, Pac-Man or whatever it is. More Minecraft there, and that's just sort of some texty hash which works. What else have we got? Oh, whatever that one is. I don't know what they are, what the games are, but it's another one of those games. And then I give the colorways. So yeah, there's some more gaming sort of fabric. So I choose the colorways so that you get that secondary. We've stuck with the same block for 15 years. The different child's getting it. It just makes it easy to have with the one pattern. And the idea is it gives a secondary sort of square in here. Originally in the early days, I would give them a fabric pigment pen as well. And the idea was that their favourite nurses and doctors and that could write messages or their family. But we stopped with the pens because we found that they didn't really know what it was for. And it was costing me a lot in pigment pens for them to just be thrown out. So, and then we back them with polar fleece and then just do a border of polar fleece, and then I just clip that like this into this fringe, and that saves us having to find batting every time, and also saves that last part of the process of the binding, which someone has to finish it off and do that binding every time. So, but the other reason for doing that is because it's soft and cuddly. The polar fleece goes through a washing machine, even a hospital one, really well. And it's tactile, so you'll find that they'll just sit and fiddle with this fringe, while the needle's going in or treatment's happening or whatever. So it's nice and soft and snuggly. So that's a Snuggy Bug quilt that's about to be delivered. So that's a little bit about that. Okay, now on to the Hawandi method. Now I've shown you this bag before, and it is just the retreat bag, but I made the panel, the fabric panel first, just having a play with my own version, and then made it into the retreat bag. The panel, this is another one that's almost done, because we did have packs of these fabrics, but you can just use scraps of anything. So there's another one there that I'm still stitching. You can see there. I'm still stitching it all down, so I'm making my way to the middle, and I'm just going to put some images up because I've got the wrong project home to show you, but I showed you last week the Shack Bagley block book and how the outside of the book I actually made a fabric panel first using this method. So it was just all scraps of those sort of cream tone-on-tone small print background prints, all put together using this method, and then stitched through to make a piece of fabric, which we then use as the background for the applique and to make the book. So there might be a couple more. You can see it a bit closer up there. You can see the stitching through it and how the edges are all turned under but not completely stitched down. They're all just layered up, and with the applique put over the top of it. And there it is again there. Okay, so I'm going to just swap over here. Oh, and I don't have my iron here ready. Okay, I'm going to switch to the overhead, and give me 1 second as I run out and grab my iron. right, I'm back. Sorry, I do need an iron for this one. Okay. Got that set up and on. Let me just check the messages here. Got to watch this last week. Oh, okay. See Fiona gone to work, I think. Thanks, Veronica. Yes, it's a lovely charity. It means a lot to them. Okay, all right. Haven't missed any messages. All right. So, how I do the method is I have just a piece of fusible Parlan or Pellon I've got tonight. I mean, I'll probably use Parlan. The size of the piece of fabric that I need to make. So just on a small one here so I can get through it and show you, and I might just whip it up and do a zipper pouch or something. But if I needed, a 1/2 metre, then I would cut the piece of Parlan the size I needed. And then we just take all our scraps of fabric and we just roughly cut a piece. And the first one can just sit on the corner like that, okay? I will go to my next one, and I want to keep them all similar but different sizes, depends, because the idea is that you're using scraps. And this one I need to fold over, fold under a 1/4 inch hem or thereabouts on one side. So I'm just pressing that down, and then I'm going to sit it over the raw edge of the one before. Take another piece. Fold over my hem. You could just finger press it if it was going to stay there. But if you can work at a table with an iron, then you can do it this way. All right. Now, I'm not quite... I have to go this way. Now, I've grabbed a heap of I think they're 2.5 inch strips, so they're actually all going to be the same width, but that's all right, the same height this way. But I've got them all different sizes this way. And then I'm just going to give that a light press just to hold them in place. I'll go back and press it properly afterwards. And then I'm going to turn around and start along this side. So, first round's pretty easy because we're just turning over one raw edge. Well, my ASA girls know this because we did the project up there, albeit without power, so no irons, so they had to wait till they got home, a lot of them, to do it. And this one I'm going to have just one big piece. You can go really small or big, doesn't really matter. Just want to keep it all random because it's designed just to use up your scraps. As long as we cover the raw edge of the one before, so it's not going to pop out. So it needs to be decently covered because we're not stitching those, exactly stitching the folded edges down. We're just doing a running stitch like through it. So it won't be completely stitched down. You don't want it to pop out. So make sure you give a good cover to the seam before. I'm just randomly picking up another piece and another piece. Give that a little press. Just trim this back. Keep working your way around. And on my final piece here, I need a folded edge on both sides. So I need a piece big enough that I can press under my seam allowance on two sides. And still cover both raw edges. Right, then I'm going to continue in the next circle. And so this time I need a folded edge at the bottom and also on the right hand side. So I've got to have a folded edge on that side and on this side. And I need to come down and cover all the way down to the bottom of this raw edge there, which is going to cover a lot of my other pieces. So I might make this one a little bit smaller. So it's just like that. But I still need to cover this raw edge all the way down to there. So what I can do is fold another side. Let me see. I'll just oops, I've done too small. Wrong edge. So I don't have any real rules except that every raw edge has to be covered. So another piece. So that's going to go under there. So I need to fold that edge and that edge there. There's that one and that one. Oops, there's my iron. Oh, burning the carpet. Right, that's just a little bit short, that one. So I'm going to again fold that edge. Under there. And I need to make sure I've got enough to come across to here. Okay. Now, if you get to the point which you get in the middle where there's not much of the fusible behind it anymore, you can just use a dab of your glue pen or or even rock sands to. So now I want to cover these three raw edges there. So I'm going to need 3 edges folded. Will that be wide enough? I'll get a bigger piece. I need not 2.5 inch strips. Right. And 1, 2, 3. I've covered most of that. Well, I guess it's a bit like a crazy patch sort of, but you're not machine piecing any bits together. So we might get one there. Like that. And then I need one more to cover these raw edges here. Or I could tuck that under if it's big enough. So your final one's going to have 4 folded edges. The one on top in the center, but that's not quite big enough. Oh, yes, it is. No, it's not quite. Because I need to cover this bit here. Maybe we'll go that way. Yep, and then I just need one in there with 3 folded edges. Okay, my issue I can see here now is that I've got a raw edge there. So I'm doing this quickly. If I took a bit more time, I could do that a bit more carefully. So I just need a small piece to tuck under there like that. No, now I've got a raw edge there. Just a bit of juggling to finish off your center. And then fuse as much as you can down to that background fusible Helen. And if you've got a few edges that are not onto the background, just get your glue pen or Roxanne's basting glue. Just put a couple of dabs to keep it there. Traditionally, you would be using pins, but there's nothing worse than pins getting in the way everywhere while you're sewing. You know I'm a glue girl. So I'm just putting a few dots. I would probably use Roxanne's if I had it in front of me. And then just make sure it's just enough to hold it there while you're stitching it. And it's all fabric friendly glue, remember, that's going to wash out. Okay, so I've got my little piece all ironed up. Okay, and then the next step is to do our stitching through it. Now I'm going to take this ironing board away because it really distracts you. Very busy. Okay, now this is where if you're a perfectionist, you could use your ruler and you could mark at least your starting straight lines on it if you wanted to. I do trim it back exactly to the edge because that first piece of fabric was nice and square and I can use that as my straight edge. And then I'm going to take a long piece of, I use Present Your Pearl thread generally, but you could use the Sashiko thread. You could use, I like a thicker thread, so like a 28 weight Aurifil, or you can just use stranded threads, just use a few strands, but they do tend to get a bit loopy and don't all stay together nicely. Alright, it's not going to thread for me now nicely. Here we are. So just a long strand of thread. And sorry, I'm just going to see. Bentley is not a dash hand, no. Okay, Sue, you home, Mandy Harrison. I'm not quite sure what that means. Maybe she's watching and you can see that. All right, so now we just have to do a running stitch through it all. Now, traditionally, you would go round and round and round and round, and that's what I'm doing on this one. But you could also just do straight lines across. You just want to make sure that you are catching the edges enough so that your turned under edges are stitched down and they can't pop out. So obviously we're not going to stitch through every single one perfectly if we're doing perfectly aligned concentric rows around it. Start in about 1/2 inch because it's a bit of fabric that we're going to sew into something. We're going to have at least a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So going any further than that, you just got to sew it off. And you can choose whatever size stitches you like, but I find the more you can get on a needle at once, the straighter your lines are. So you just want to pull that through and make sure it's not puckered, it's nice and flat. And then if you can get a few stitches on the needle at once, then you keep your lines a little bit straighter. Whereas if you're just doing one at a time, you tend to go a bit zigzaggy. And I just lift it up and do it up and down like that. But you can do it however you like. So my stitch here under this folded edge is going to make sure it goes in the seam allowance. So where it's folded underneath, so that then is locked down and it can't pop out again. And this piece, I've got a line on the fabric that I can follow. Can you see that? Do you want me to zoom in a bit closer? I'll zoom in a bit closer. Let's come in to there. Okay, so see I'm following the line on this fabric in this instance. That was just lucky that I had a line on the fabric and I can use that as my straight line. So I'm just doing a large running stitch. Again, my stitch there, I want it to make sure it's in the seam allowance that's folded under so that it does lock that down and that now can't pop out, that folded under bit. So quite therapeutic when you get to this bit. You can just sit on the lounge and finish binging while you do this, whatever show it might be that you're watching. So I'm going to come up to 1/2 inch from the edge and turn the corner, because remember 1/4 inch is going to be in the seam allowance. Lock down that fold there with a stitch through it. I'm just using a Hugs and Kisses stitchery needle. I guess you could use a longer needle and you might, like even as the Chico needle, and then you might get more stitches on. But I don't want to worry about too much about it being perfect. It's about getting the texture. And the whole idea of this method was always just using up scraps that you had. And it looks quite homemade and organic. I'll just get off that so I can see your comments. Oh, I'm stitching out of view, sorry. Came close to me and then I didn't move away again. Is that better? Joe's just come on. I know he won't be watching, but I'll say happy birthday to my father-in-law for today because I haven't sent him a message yet. I'm sure he won't be watching, but I've said it now. I have been thinking of you. Okay, so down the last side. So I'm sure you don't want to watch me stitch this whole thing, but I'll just wait till we get back to the beginning. So lock down that folded edge there. So if you really struggle to stitch straight lines, this is where you can use your Q-quarter ruler and just use a blue pen or a disappearing pen, fading pen, and just mark yourself a few guidelines to keep straight and keep your gaps about the same as we start working in. So I'm going to get back to within ½ inch, and then I would turn and start doing the next row, depending on how close you want to do them. I'm out of thread now though, so I'm going to end that one off. And this is the time that you can use a longer thread than what I say that you can for embroidery. It should be like fingertip to elbow. In this instance, you can use a bit longer thread, so you can get around a bit more. And a knot. And then we continue, come up from the back and continue on our next row. Oh, out of camera again. And we just keep working around, but it's when we get up to this layer, up to the edge of these ones here, that we need to be mindful. So if my row was going to go through there and just miss there, then that is okay, but we want to make sure our next row is over where the fold is. If it was up here, then this folded, no, if it was up here too high, then this fold could still escape out there. So sometimes what I do when it's just not going to hit properly is I'll stitch along there and then I'll just jump down a little bit and then jump up a little bit and then along here and then jump up. So it doesn't matter if you don't go completely straight. You just want to make sure you've got a row of stitching holding down all of those folded seams. If you've got a little bit that's poking at like a corner that's poking out there, then just tuck that under and stitch it down so that it's not going to poke out when you go. Okay, so I'm just going to continue stitching that tonight and get it all stitched up, and once I've done it tonight I'll pop a photo up on Facebook for you and you can see, and see how I might even do a little video again put up there so you can see how I just make sure that my rows of stitching, whether they're even or not, I might be able to show you on this one. Okay, so on this one here I was coming along and it's quite high, so this one here I caught the bottom and I managed to catch those. My next row I just missed there, so I came along and got those, and so this one I jumped down and made sure it was, oh, can't see it, made sure that it caught that. I actually haven't caught that folded edge there, so I need to go back and put a row along there, or that's at risk of coming out there. But yeah, here I've jumped down to make sure I get the seam allowance, and these ones I've jumped down as well. This one I've missed there, but I've jumped down there. Oops, you can't see. Okay, so no right or wrong, not with my method anyway. There might be with a traditional method, but these are my rules generally are that there are no rules. But you just keep working your way through until you've stitched all the way to the middle, like this one was. And every piece is stitched down and every seam in one direction or the other is locked in. Okay, so that's it for now for me tonight. We've been nearly an hour again. It's getting a bit longer each week. Sorry about that. My battery has lasted because I've had it on charge all week. I made sure it was fully charged. Get that message for you. What was I was going to put something up afterwards? Oh, what I'll do tonight, but no, I was going to put a link for something up. I'll try and remember what that was. If you're watching the replay, thanks. Remember, nothing's on the website, or not much of what I've shown you is on the website. I'll put the links up of what was. So yeah, it's just a message or an email to Joe, and if there's anything you saw that you're interested in, and I can't wait to see you all have a go at some Hawandi, which is the Hugs and Kisses version of Kawandi or Borrow or one of all those other sorts of methods. But yep, mine involves glue rather than pins and tacking. You know what I like. Okay, thank you all. Bye for now, Caroline. Yes, we miss seeing you as well. One day I'll get over there and I'll be coming to stay, so don't you worry. We'll see you all next week. If you've got any ideas of what you want me to demo next week before Bentley eats the shopping bag now, then let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you at 7 next week. Bye for now.